This real life drama is so dramatic, it deserves an Oscar. And the best part is, these are your stories, so the Oscar goes to you. My baby daddy hasn't told people we broke up. Is baby daddy still in love with you? I broke up with my baby daddy after a year and a half of dating. I was roughly 7-ish months pregnant. I broke up with him because my needs aren't being met. He was more concerned with kissing his mother's ass and pleasing her than he was putting me first. Yes, he's a mama's boy. He had no issues putting our plans on hold for his family because heaven forbid we actually spent a day together, regardless of it pissing people off. Ever since telling his parents I was pregnant in the fall/winter, his mother has had her say in nearly everything. We weren't to tell people in his family that I was pregnant until we knew the baby was okay and healthy. I wasn't to look at my own test results to see what the gender of my baby was. Yeah, no. I, of course, looked as soon as I got the results because even my own mother doesn't have the audacity to control me and my choices like that. She knows that I would laugh at her and do it anyways. Baby daddy's mother was so hell-bent on knowing the gender of the baby, she kept bugging and bugging until baby daddy ultimately got on my rear end to just tell her so she would get off his ass. I was literally made to send the test results even though I asked that we wait until I had ultrasound confirmation. I've heard too many horror stories of the blood test results being wrong, and I knew that would likely be my luck. It physically hurt me to send the screenshot of the results. I broke down for 2 hours before wiping my tears and going to work where I'm a server and have to smile and act like I'm fine. I confronted baby daddy about my feelings and asked if he even considered how it affected me, and of course I didn't get much of a response. I hate when families over-insert themselves into people's relationships. Wild behavior. So I told him I wanted out of the house by January because mentally I couldn't do it anymore. I was falling back into deep depression and becoming borderline suicidal again. That breaks my heart. I hate that I just have to keep reading and like skip over that. Please stay forever. And I knew I had to be mentally okay for the baby. We were supposed to move in with his grandparents because he refused to move in with my parents. He just had the talk with his parents about keeping his truck. He never did. He let the whole thing fall through. So either on my days off or before work, I slowly moved my stuff out in the early morning hours when people were still sleeping or had already left for work. I did this until all my stuff was out. I got a text while I was at work telling me how effed up it was that I just moved all my stuff out. But I had warned him, if we weren't out of there by January, I was gone. I hate when they act surprised. That's so annoying. It's like, oh my God, she just left. It's like, I'm sorry. I've been telling you that I was going to leave. You chose not to take it seriously, but I was serious. I've had so little control of my pregnancy that when it came to planning my shower, I put my foot down, and between my mom and I, we had planned it, which didn't make baby daddy happy because he wasn't involved, even though I ran everything by him. His mother also didn't like that she had no say and wanted a second shower, but all my family lives out of state and is too poor to travel and make the trip. So any shower that happened was literally for baby daddy's family and my few friends/adopted family. But heaven forbid I forget for a day because I'm so exhausted to tell him some little detail about a date and time. He was livid. We actually had gotten into an argument over it one day once I got off work, and he told me it's not all about me. I sat in the work parking lot breaking down for an hour debating which mental hospital to check into before ultimately calling my mom to come get me because I was in no state to drive. This was the day I moved back home with my parents. Mentally, I was slowly breaking, and I could tell my baby daddy just didn't care. I honestly stayed for longer than I should have, as this argument happened in late January. I didn't break up with him until early March. But during that time, I slowly detached and became a bit more distant, hoping he would see how much I was hurting. He, of course, never did. And if he did, I don't believe he cared. I broke up with him 2 weeks before the shower, asked him to be civil enough to get through said shower, to which he agreed. 1 week before the shower, he wanted to meet so we could talk about what we're going to do regarding the baby. I told him ideally I'd like to go to mediation. We can work something out that works for both of us, and then not only my rights but his would be protected as well. I really didn't want anything legal, as I don't want to put my child through a custody battle, and I told him as much. The response I got to all of it was, I don't know, we'll see. And as far as the custody battle went, his response was, I can't make any promises. I told him he had a week to make up his mind, and whatever choice he made, I told him I wanted it to be his and no one else's, meaning your mother. By the time of the baby shower, it had been a week since our conversation. My mom, some of my coworkers, and I had set up the entire thing. I refused his help, as up until the point any offered help from him and his family wasn't followed through on. There was also some excuse to not be able to do it, or simply no response. So I just told him to be there by 3. Hardly anyone in his family said hi to me. Baby daddy Shirley didn't even speak to me, spent most of his time outside, while my coworker, we'll call her C, and I ran the entire shower. I forced myself to act okay, even though he wasn't even inside for it, and it broke me inside. We got through the games and served food, which hardly anyone ate. By the time we got around to gifts, I managed to hand out a few thank you gifts to those who actually helped with buying small things for the shower or just helped set up. This was when I overheard baby daddy's mother loudly saying, "We're leaving because my son is effing pissed." And I watched him and pretty much everyone who was there for him leave. I had fully intended on calling him up so we could open gifts together, but I obviously never got to. This was when it all went to shite. Baby daddy's older sister cussed out my grandparents and my uncle as they left. His cousin got on Facebook and thanked me for including baby daddy in the shower. More people chimed in, simply talking smack, saying how I didn't even say hi to anyone, as if literally everything was on me to go out of my way to do. I had intended on talking to baby daddy about our conversation the previous week, but I never got the chance to. So after everything literally went down the toilet, I blocked him and everyone in his family because I was simply just done with all of this and his family's BS. I was beyond done. It was because of my lovely coworkers I just didn't break down. Baby daddy had apparently texted one of my coworkers, we'll call her J, and asked if another coworker, we'll call him H, and I have been fooling around. Baby daddy had actually told H before the shower, I don't even know if I'm the father. Call up Maury. I heard he is coming out of retirement, baby. We can get those test results. You are the father. When baby daddy and I broke up, I even questioned if he was the father. He's the only one I slept with, so if it's not him, I guess I'm just the Virgin Mary. It's been about a month since the shower, and I don't even think he's told people we've broken up. I saw his Uncle B at work one night before I went on a maternity leave, and he gave me a hug, told me he didn't mean to miss the shower and that he had a gift for us, completely acting like we are still together. I haven't talked to baby daddy since the shower, nor has he made any attempt, that I know of, to reach out to me. While I have him and everyone blocked on social media and their numbers, baby daddy knows where I live. It breaks me knowing he's likely going to tell people he's not the father. I'm due in mid-May, so the baby will be here any day now. Oh my God, it's May 23rd. You may have had your baby already. Oh, yay. I don't know if baby daddy is gonna try anything legal-wise. I hope I'm just left alone, but I also have intentions of laying really low due to all the drama. While this is most of it, it's not all, and some small details have been left out. The last 9 months have been short of hell, and I honestly just pray the Lord serves much needed justice on him and his family for everything I've been put through. This is a mess. I get it. I'm very happy for you becoming a mother, or maybe you're already a mother, and having this adorable little baby. I hope it all works out for your sake. I hope you're able to protect your rights, the baby's rights. I hope it's not this huge legal messy battle. Get some DNA tests, do what you gotta do, and just take care of you. You and baby, #1 priority, all right? And call up Maury. I 39 female, have been married to my husband, 38 male, for almost 17 years together? Almost 20? Wow. That's gold right there. We have 6 children. The oldest 2 are mine from previous relationships, both grown and out of the house, and 4 of them are ours together. There's a huge age gap between the oldest 4 and the youngest 2. My oldest is 21 and the youngest is 2. Wow, that is a huge age gap. But how fun for the 21-year-old to have a little toddler. There's a big age gap with me and my brother, and I'm telling you, I loved like being such an older sister when he was young. Anyways, into the story. About 8 years ago, I found out my husband had been cheating on me with multiple women. All right, I take back the goals thing. No offense. I knew he was acting shady, so I looked through his phone and I found message threads to 2 different women he had gone to high school with, both who are married with children. The messages were inappropriate for a married man to be sending, and I was livid. He claims it was all talk, and I do believe that to be true, but that's not the worst part. His best friend had been distant for a while, and we weren't sure why, until one day I got a message from him that said, "If you want to know why I haven't been around lately, it's because Dean," fake name, "slept with two-faced hooer." Not her real name, lol. Well, I figured her birth certificate didn't say two-faced hooer. I was even more devastated at finding this out. I confronted Dean about it and he flatly denied it, but I'm not sure why she would lie about this happening, so I believe with my whole self that it is true. We went through a really rough time in our marriage at this point, and I ended up sleeping with someone else for revenge. Revenge sex never gets us anywhere, does it? I don't know why I'm acting like I've done that. I haven't. I know it was the wrong choice and I have regretted it every day since, but damn it, he deserved to feel the same hurt he caused me. We ended up working things out and stayed married, but that brings us to 2 years ago. I had given birth to our 2 youngest children within a year and a half of each other, and again, my husband got distant and weird. I cried and begged and pleaded with him to tell me what was wrong, but because of what happened already, I had my suspicions. So one day when he was at work, I logged into our shared laptop and discovered that he had been sexting what I can only assume are sex workers from Facebook, along with a couple of other women that he knows. I am not kidding when I say I lost it. I bawled my eyes out and called him to confront him. Guys, I was so happy about your marriage. This is a mess. He denied it and said he had been hacked, except the account he had created was called Just Had to Say Hi. Get it? Just had to say hi. Oh, just had to say hi. No, I wouldn't have gotten that. And the moron sent pictures of his own face to these women, and a hacker wouldn't send pics of him to these women. When I told him that I knew it was him because of the pictures, he admitted it. He went as far as telling one of these women that I had died from cancer 5 years earlier. He effing killed me off. That's diabolical. When I confronted him on that, he laughed. To say he broke my heart is the understatement of the century. I had been feeling super insecure due to the weight gain from having 2 children back to back and the way he had been treating me. And honestly, I wasn't being super nice to him. And he said the reason he did this was because he was bored and I let myself go. I don't even need to hear anymore. I would have been gone, but not my marriage. For the record, it's always taken me a long time to lose baby weight, and I've successfully lost all but about 30 pounds of it as of now. I hate that you're trying to explain yourself right now. You could gain 200 pounds. That is not a reason to cheat on somebody. I stupidly gave him another chance. Girl, you need to message me after, we gotta talk. But this has been eating me alive for the last 2 years, and last month I told him, I wanted a divorce because I will never trust him again. Okay. The knife has been put in my back too many times and it's irreparable at this point. I will say I still love him, but being in love was thrown out the window when he did the things he did and then blamed me for them. I am happy to report that in 2 years since he cheated, last I knew I had to get my life straight. I went from being a full-time stay-at-home mom, going to phlebotomy. We're gonna learn it. Ready, everybody?
Phlebotomy.
I was right.
Phlebotomy.
Phlebotomy. Am I smart? I went from being a full stay-at-home mom to going to phlebotomy school and being a phlebotomist at my local hospital. In case you don't know, a phlebotomist draws blood. Ooh, girl, I faint every time I get my blood taken, so I'd be on your table. I am more happy and self-confident than I've ever been in a long time, and I know that will only continue to grow once our divorce is finalized. We are still living in the same house due to finances, but we are working really hard to separate everything and move on with our lives. It has been really devastating to realize the man I was supposed to grow old with has betrayed me so badly, and he won't be the one I grow old with. The dating world is so scary, and I'm not even sure how to navigate that, but I know I won't be ready for that for a long time. So I have some time to figure it out. It feels good to get this off my chest. My close family and friends know what's been happening, and they have been really encouraging me to seek legal help, but I'm not sure if I want to do that yet, as I am hoping we can work together and not put our children's lives in the hands of strangers, judges, and lawyers. I don't make as much money as he does, and he will have to help support our children once everything is said and done. Any advice from people who have been through this would be helpful. I've never been divorced before. We have been together since we were basically kids, and any insight would be greatly appreciated. Just want to say I love your channel and I watch it every single day. Oh my God, then you're going to watch this one for sure, and I'm so happy that we get to be sharing this moment together when you watch it. Girl, I'm really sorry that happened, but I'm very happy that you're no longer saying that, because we all got to know our worth, you know? It's not working. I think this is going to be a blessing in disguise once you heal. I really, truly do. And it sounds like you're healing. But people, give some advice. I can't really offer much here. Girl's not even engaged. You know what I'm saying? You know what time it is? We're hopping on hydration station. I'm still on my cucumber kick this week. So, cheers. A few years ago, I had a close friend. Let's call her Carrie. Carrie and I had met in high school, and we had been best friends for about a decade since. Carrie had met her boyfriend Ben at college, and they had been together for several years. When she and I were out shopping one day, she told me that Ben had proposed, that they were getting married in a few months, and she asked me to be her maid of honor. I was very happy for her, and I immediately agreed. Carrie had two close friends from college, Monica and Sophie, fake names, and she chose them to be her bridesmaids. They were both lovely people, and I always felt welcome around them, so I didn't foresee any problems with that. At first, everything was fine. I was helping out as much as I could. The wedding dress and bridesmaid dresses were ordered and arrived quickly, and we were having a lot of fun going on multiple quests for shoes. That was probably the first warning sign, though, that Carrie couldn't find the right shoes for the rest of us to wear. We tried on at least 50 pairs of shoes. Eventually, we found a pair that were close enough to her vision. Shortly after that, Carrie and I were messaging about what we were going to do next to prepare for the wedding. Out of nowhere, Carrie started ranting about her bridesmaids. Sophie has social anxiety and can take a while to respond to messages. She's always been like that, and I was surprised that Carrie had to be reminded to give her the space to respond on her own time. Monica hadn't done anything wrong either, but suddenly Carrie thought Monica was being lazy because she wasn't constantly offering help. I politely pointed out that Monica wasn't a mind reader, and she offered to help with anything Carrie needed. If Carrie wanted Monica's help, she only had to ask her. Meanwhile, it was my job to set up the bachelorette weekend in the forest with the bridesmaids' help, but my chronic neurological condition was flaring up, and I was in a lot of pain for a couple of months. I ended up planning it for about a month and a half later than Carrie had wanted, though she hadn't told me that in time to book it for the right month. Because it was booked only a month out from the dates, the cheaper cabins were sold out. The ones that were available were very nice, more bougie than rustic. It had a massive hot tub, but about twice as much per person as the bridesmaids wanted to pay. I considered it mostly my fault that we were booking so late, so I decided to dig into my savings, and I paid for the whole weekend myself? Damn, that's generous. Carrie had another red flag response to that. She was perfectly happy to accept the free holiday herself, but thought the bridesmaids didn't deserve the same treatment. Girl, these are your best friends. What are you talking about? I politely let her know I was determined to treat them all equally, and after a bit more unwarranted complaining about the two of the nicest people on earth, Carrie eventually let it go. Then the bachelorette weekend arrived. The problem started the moment I stepped into Carrie's car. Carrie and I were traveling from the same city, so we had decided to share her car. Monica and Sophie lived in the next city over and were both working that evening and decided to go together in Sophie's car. I had posted full details of the trip on the group chat, but apparently Carrie hadn't been reading those posts. The cabin was 2 hours away as the crows fly, but more than 4 hours by non-flying car because we would be driving along narrow, winding mountain roads through the forest. As soon as I mentioned how long it would take, Carrie got angry with me. I was very keen for the weekend to go well, so I apologized for not making that clearer, and off we went. It was a beautiful drive. As soon as we were out of the city, we were off the highways, and the air was sweet and clean. The mountains in that area get a lot of rain, and everything was vibrant green. Carrie was still in a strange mood though. She kept making cutting comments about the people and places we passed. I tried to steer the conversation away from those things that were suddenly making her angry. Strange things, like someone's backyard being too big. Carrie sounds miserable, to be honest. About 3 hours into the trip, we were driving down a stretch of mountain road with nothing but forests on either side. Looking ahead, I could see nothing on the road amongst the leaf litter until the moment before we hit them. It was a tiny, flightless mother bird who was crossing the road with her 2 chicks. No! Carrie didn't see them at all. I cried out and turned to look out the back window, hoping that we somehow missed them. But there the mother was, standing alone next to the 2 little bloody bundles of feathers. I think I would cry if I witnessed that and I did that. I would be a wreck. Oh my God. If I were to ever hit a squirrel, I would like get out of my car, bawl, and bring it home to do a proper burial. Like, I'm so dramatic. The left front wheel had gone right over both of her babies. I love animals, and I was raised with many, including birds. When I was a child, my parrot Peggy used to sit on my shoulder, take birdseed out of my hands, and gently play with any jewelry I was wearing. Watching those baby birds die was immediately traumatizing for me. I needed to talk about it, I needed to cry about it, and I really needed a hug. Carrie wasn't willing to do any of that. I tried to talk about it a few times over the next half hour, but gave up when it only seemed to annoy Carrie. She didn't care about the baby birds, and she thought I shouldn't either. Things slowly got worse and worse from there. The bridesmaids and I had set up a roster so we'd all share cooking duties equally, but suddenly my cooking wasn't good enough and I was completely excluded from that. The next day we went out walking. I wore a swimsuit because every trail in the area led to a different waterfall and I wanted to go for a short swim. Carrie talked the other ladies out of wearing their swimsuits, and instead of following one of the trails, she led us on a weird loop around the area that somehow avoided all of the waterfalls. She had previously been very keen to see a waterfall, but suddenly she didn't want anything to do with them. Halfway through the giant loop walk, Monica and Sophie stopped to take photos of a pretty mushroom. Carrie and I were only standing a few feet away. And Carrie turned to me and said, "The only girl I know who's your size doesn't want to be in my wedding because it's not in church." I was stunned. I'm stunned. What does that even mean? This was the first sign I'd ever gotten that I wasn't living up to what she wanted. And she was saying that she had asked someone to take my place. I couldn't think of anything to say to that. After a couple of minutes, Monica and Sophie were done taking photos of the mushroom, and we finished our walk and returned to the cabin. I had bought a lot of art supplies for multiple activities Carrie had been interested in, but despite either suggesting or enthusiastically agreeing on them, Carrie had some cutting things to say about how many supplies I had brought. Things worsened on the second evening, while we were painting and drinking some of the nice wine I had supplied. Carrie was talking about the group coming back to the cabin in a year. I said that I thought that was a lovely idea and I'd love to come back with her, Monica, and Sophie. But I misunderstood. Somehow, in front of me, Carrie had been planning a return trip without me. The group she was referring to was a group of her college friends, including Monica and Sophie. Carrie was angry with me for the misunderstanding, and Monica and Sophie were embarrassed. I don't think they knew I wasn't invited either. The rest of the evening was very awkward. The next afternoon, we all packed up and went home. Carrie had vetoed every other activity I had bought supplies for, and we spent several hours watching movies. We'd managed to use the hot tub once on each previous day, but we didn't even get to have one last go in it on the last. So Carrie just hates everything, including her friends. The drive home was very awkward, and Carrie was still angry about random people's backyard size for some reason. A couple of days later, I received a completely unexpected message from Carrie. Apparently, my misunderstanding had embarrassed her in front of her bridesmaids. I explained that it was a genuine mistake and I hadn't meant anything mean by it, but she didn't seem to believe me. Suddenly, I was fat and ugly. I was a size 8. Okay, me, not fat. That's wild for anyone to ever be considering that as a large size. Ugh, I hate this world. I was a size 8 and the rest of the bridal party were size 2 or 0. Okay, so they're petite. We all have different bodies. But I was also about half a foot taller than them, so I wasn't very big. Carrie had complimented my nose in the past, but suddenly it was big and ugly. I couldn't seem to do or say anything right anymore. At this point, the wedding was close, a couple of weeks out. Carrie tried to organize a get-together. I was feeling unwell, so it took me long to realize that, without constant reminders from me, she hadn't planned the day out in a way that accommodated my disability. There was no response in the group chat when I tried to fix the problem, so I posted a message saying I wouldn't be able to make it the next day. I never saw Carrie again. Carrie was furious I had pulled out that day and demanded a groveling apology. I tried to fix the problem by setting up a meeting, but she didn't want to go over wedding things at her place anymore. She just wanted to come over to my house to scream at me. When she admitted as much, I sent her one last text. I wished her a happy life and a good wedding, and I said goodbye. I blocked her on everything and haven't seen her since. The real kicker? I'm the reason there was even a wedding in the first place. Years before Ben proposed, Carrie didn't get a job she wanted straight out of college and threw a tantrum over it. In the midst of that tantrum, she decided that kind, patient Ben was the real problem and would have to go. Monica and Sophie agreed with me that that was a terrible idea, but felt too anxious to intervene. I talked Carrie down single-handedly. None of Carrie's other friends know this happened. I was the only person out of the 3 friends that she told who was brave enough to stop her from making an enormous mistake. I will always be glad that I did that for her, but I will always wonder why my best efforts were suddenly not enough. That's not on you. We're not gonna play the I wasn't enough, what I did wasn't enough. This is it's only showing the type of person that Carrie is, girl. Your efforts belong somewhere else, someone who will appreciate them. Let me know your thoughts on these. I'll see you in the comment section. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy.